Three scenes. First one, Rangasthalam. Hero who usually goes to grab a cigarette with his friends after dinner. Him candidly talking about what happened in the meet today. Mahesh reaction showing the rage, not the face, and also revealing the rage symbolically with fire. Scene 2. Making one of the villains sit on a commode, shooting him, and then realizing he is real. The opposite of Child and the Tiger story symbolism. The hero kept telling that the villain is real. No one believed. Once he didn't believe, and this time, actually it is the villain. One word, brilliant. Usually people explain their favorite scenes in the end, but I wanted to start with them. Hello, this is Maruti Acharya. Telugu cinema has emerged as one of the most celebrated industries in Indian cinema, garnering global acclaim in recent years. Much of the success is attributed to iconic films like Bahubali and RRR, which redefined Indian storytelling on a global stage. While the spotlight often shines on universal emotions and larger-than-life narratives, there is another key ingredient: simple storytelling. Director S.S. Rajamouli's films exemplify this with their straightforward narratives, wrapping it in emotional depth and happy endings. But what happens when a director challenges these conventions, crafting stories with grey protagonists, layering conflicts, and endings that defy the norm? Enter Sukumar, a filmmaker who dares to swim against the tide, redefining how stories are told in Telugu cinema. With his unique style, he has carved a niche for himself, and his recent blockbuster Pushpa cemented his place among the greatest storytellers in Indian cinema. So, what makes Sukumar's work stand apart? Let's discuss that in today's video. Number 1. Grey, flawed, and challenged heroes. The quintessential Indian cinema hero is often a picture-perfect figure, moral, invincible, and inspiring. Sukumar subverts this notion, presenting protagonists who are flawed, grey, and deeply human. In Jagadam, the protagonist's dream is to become a gangster, idealizing the very violence society condemns. Arya too brings forth a toxic yet relatable hero, while Vannenokadne explores a protagonist grappling with trauma, memory loss, and identity crisis. Then there is Rangasthalam's Chittibabu, a partially deaf villager navigating political and personal conflicts. And Pushpa's titular character, whose brashness and vulnerabilities make him as raw as the forest he inhabits. These characters are more than just heroes. They are reflections of flawed humanity. Sukumar draws from psychological theories to delve into how childhood traumas and personal insecurities shape his protagonists. This departure from perfection makes Sukumar heroes not only relatable but also unforgettable, allowing the audience to connect with their idiosyncrasies and imperfections. Also, when you watch a Sukumar movie, you will know how the character will behave in any given situation. That is because Sukumar will feed you the character and characteristics, especially deep idea of the character, so that you can predict anything about the character. Number 2. Conflict as the heartbeat. Think of any Sukumar movie and think about what happens after the story or before the story. Gautam is a rich and successful rock star. Chittibabu is an innocent, simple village man. Pushpa has a typical rags to riches track. But the conflict points and the attachment the protagonist has to them makes the heroes special. What truly sets Sukumar apart is his masterful handling of conflict. His protagonists are shaped by their struggles, often tied to the childhood traumas or emotional voids. That is why most of the Sukumar movies have childhood portions as the opening scene or a crucial part. In Pushpa, the protagonist's vulnerabilities stem from his unresolved identity crisis and familial scars. His brother's taunts and his lineage trigger his insecurities, even as he climbs the ladder of power in the syndicate. The engagement scene or wedding card scene are also used as a smart way in the screenplay for switching the intensity of the story. After these scenes is when Pushpa gets triggered and his vulnerabilities are shown. Similarly, in Nannaku Premato, Abhiram's revenge for his father becomes the protagonist's driving force. Think of Abhiram without that. While Vannenokadne is a journey of uncovering lost truths, Sukumar often establishes these conflicts early on, grounding them in the protagonist's childhood. This approach makes his stories emotionally rich and characters deeply layered. Number 3. Endings that leave a mark. In Indian cinema, happy endings often serve as a beacon of hope. Sukumar, however, elevates his climaxes to go beyond hope. His endings focus on resolving the character's journey, leaving a lasting impact on the audience. Take Vanne Nokkadine for example. The climax shift from revenge to a poignant discovery of the protagonist's parents' identity. In Rangasthalam, the conventional revenge arc ends with Chittibabu killing the president, but Sukumar layers it with a moral confrontation that resonates deeply with Prakash Raj. So, revenge is not the climax. Showing the protagonist's satisfaction is the climax of Sukumar. This nuanced approach to storytelling ensures that Sukumar's films don't just entertain, they linger in the audience's minds. Number 4. A cinematic craftsman. Sukumar's films are a masterclass in filmmaking techniques. His use of symbolism is unparalleled, adding depth to every frame. Consider the iconic scene in Pushpa, where a gun shaped like a flower is fired as the protagonists declare Pushpa ante flower and kuttiva. Fire. Or the snake symbolism in Rangasthalam, where Chittibabu kills the president with a stick, a direct callback to his earlier interaction with a snake. He chooses abnormal wide angles and claustrophobic close-ups in the most unconventional portions that not only elevates the scene but also contain elements that serve the story's bigger purpose. Music too plays a vital role in his storytelling. The lyrics of hero introduction songs in every Sukumar movie might sound preachy or out of context, but if you notice carefully, they discuss the main theme of the world, the protagonist. This is a brilliant way of telling, but not telling the story. Same with his title cards. 5. The role of women in Sukumar's films. Sukumar's portrayal of women has often drawn criticism for objectification, which is valid, but if you look beyond that, female characters in his films are far more than mere romantic interests. They serve as pivotal turning points in the protagonist's journey. In Vanne Nokkadine, Samira helps Gautam unravel his trauma. Even in Arya 2, Geeta's desires shape the narrative. If Ramalakshmi in Rangasthalam didn't raise the question about irregularities in her loan papers, then the story would not proceed. These women are integral to the plot, often influencing the hero's arc in meaningful ways. What truly defines Sukumar is his ability to balance mass appeal with artistic storytelling. Looking ahead, with Pushpa 2 The Rule set to release on December 5th, expectations are sky high. The sequel promises to build on the first installment's success, delivering the same intensity, layered storytelling, and mass appeal that defines Sukumar's brand. Hope you got the reference. Sukumar is more than a filmmaker. He's a storyteller who pushes boundaries, blending emotion, intellect, and cinematic flair. Undoubtedly, Sukumar is one of the filmmakers that Telugu cinema is always proud of. So these are the qualities that make Sukumar different from other directors. What do you think? Which scene of Sukumar is your favorite? Which movie of Sukumar is your favorite? And if Sukumar is your favorite director, why? And if you don't agree to any of my points, please mention why also in the comments below. And how excited are you for Pushpa 2? Mention that also in the comments below. We will be there early morning, covering the celebrations, reviews, and lot of videos about Pushpa, Sukumar, Allu Arjun are also coming up on the channel. My brother Sanjay Panappa is working on a video about Rashmika and her career. That video also will be on the channel. Please do check that out as well. With that, this is Maruti Acharya and you're watching India Today.